With Marvel Legacy right around the corner, I think it's time, everybody. I think it's time for another episode of It's a Podcast.
I got too much pressure, running out of time. I got too much pressure.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of It's a Podcast. And I've been wanting to do this video podcast discussion for a while now. I originally was going to call it Let's Discuss Marvel Legacy, but so much time has passed and so much stuff has come out about Marvel Legacy, so many things surrounding Marvel Legacy. We just got the final issue of Secret Empire. Secret Empire Omega was released last Wednesday. So now the event that led into Legacy is over. We're right smack dab in the middle of Generations, and we've already got news pouring in, both good and bad, from Marvel. So, hey, let's discuss Marvel. That's the topic of this episode of It's a Podcast. I figured, hey, if we're going to discuss Marvel, if it's all going to be about comics, let's do it on It's a Podcast instead. So here we are on It's a Podcast. Now, before we get started, I want to point out just a couple of things before I really get into it when it comes to Marvel. Number one, Tevye, sit down. No, I am not going to be telling people to go away. No, we are not telling. No, we are not. No, we are not. Sit down. No, we are not telling Dan Slott to go anywhere. No, no, Bendis either. Stop. Spider. No. Talk about Spider-Man. No, be good. So, all right. No, all seriousness. I'm not gonna sit here and, bash on everything Marvel's doing, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, everything is wonderful and great and flowers and roses being thrown at your face. No. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to give my point of view on Marvel Legacy, my hopes, my concerns, things that are surrounding Marvel Legacy before Legacy has even dropped yet, things that are being talked about, and stuff like that, and then I'll give you guys my take on it all. Now, personally, I think Marvel's been in a bit of a slump for a while. DC, since they've done Rebirth, have really fixed a lot of the problems. I don't want to say problems either. They fixed a lot of the things that readers and fans were having with their universe. Of course, they did throw out that, it was all planned. It was supposed to be only 52 issues. That's why it was called the New 52. I don't know if it's true or not. I personally, I don't care, because I'm really happy with the way Rebirth is. And Rebirth is going into its final phases starting in October when Doomsday Clock starts. And, we're going to be going through the last year of Rebirth, and then we'll see where everything leads. But to the point, Rebirth has fixed a lot of the stuff that fans and readers have had with a lot of the characters in the DC universe since their hard reboot, which turns out wasn't a reboot. It stands to question. We're not here to talk about DC. I'm using them as an example because Marvel Legacy is supposed to be Marvel's version of Rebirth. They're supposed to be taking the characters back to their legacy, renumbering a lot of comics, even the ones that don't make sense. They're renumbering them. And obviously this is because DC wants to get action. DC renumbered Action and Detective. That's it. DC only went back to the legacy numbers of two of their Action and Detective was their first two books. It makes sense. Marvel did it with almost all of their books. By the way, no Fantastic Four still. Want to point that out there. No Fantastic Four still, which were there from the beginning also. But anyway, that's what Marvel's doing. They're renumbering to the legacy numbers, which some people are going to get very confused, especially when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man, because they threw in Superior and everything. But Marvel's doing their legacy numbering. They're bringing characters back to their roots. They're fixing a lot. They heard the fans. They see what the fans want. Or only half heard the fans, because, like I was stating before, Joe Quesada still insists that fans deserve Spider-Man single, that he's no good married. And it's hilarious that I see on person whose name will be left out. You can go check all the Marvel writers that are involved with Spider-Man, but somebody wrote on one of the writers for Spider-Man's Twitter, hey, DC did it with Superman, and the best response for that was, Spider-Man's not Superman. I hate to break it to you guys. We know Spider-Man is not Superman. I would like to clarify. We know that. The point of that statement was DC brought back the marriage that everybody was upset was broken up with the New 52, and Marvel is not willing to bite the bullet and bring back one of the marriages that we've wanted since Tevia's complaint. That's the event we're calling it, which was known as One More Day. Just saying. Fans are not saying that to compare Spider-Man to Superman. Fans are saying that because they're saying DC brought back the married couple that everybody wanted and gave him a son. Marvel's answer to that, we have Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. That's great, but you're fast-forwarding time now, and you're basically giving us Spider-Girl, but the main character, instead of being Spider-Girl, is Pete 8 years in the future with a teenage daughter. So anyway, that's a mini rant. That's going to happen. But anyway, other than that, they're promising to give a lot of legacy back to a lot of their characters. Obviously, spoiler alert warning here. Secret Empire, like I said, just finished. Completely finished. And after Omega, we have a confirmation that Natasha is possibly still alive. Black Widow is somehow still alive. And obviously Evil Steve is in jail. But of course they have to leave the potential out there for a possible breakout one day. And things are kind of now people don't trust Captain America as much anymore. And it's because of what happened. If you want to know all the Secret Empire stuff, that it took a year to lead into Secret Empire. But basically, Red Skull used Kubrick to screw it. Steve Rogers brought him back because he was old, made him young again, but erased all of Steve Rogers' patriotism and the real Steve and replaced him with a Hydra Captain America. And that's what Secret Empire was about. Hydra Cap beating the world, literally at the brink of winning, and then for some reason didn't succeed because of Bucky. And then the real Cap came back. The world is saved, and the event basically meant absolutely nothing but the impact on Captain America. Which for Cap fans, that's great, because now you got stuff to look forward to in Captain America, which is getting a legacy numbering, and is going to be written by Mark Waid with art by Chris Samney. If you're fans of the Daredevil series, such as myself, or the Black Widow series, or both, me personally, just Daredevil, you're going to be very happy about this with Captain America. Me, I am. I'm interested because they got me into Daredevil when nobody else could. So now they're doing Cap. So there's a possibility of me being interested in Cap. But other than that, if you are a Marvel Universe person, like if you're Spider-Man or X-Men or whatever, this will have mentions in your book, but this hardly impacts a lot of books in the Marvel Universe. Actually, books have already moved forward from Secret Empire without even really referencing back to it too much. I'm sure the Avenger books will, and other, books that Cap's tied into will. But Marvel has moved on already from said event. And now we're going into Legacy. And like I said, Generations spun out of a panel from the last issue. Well, not the second to last issue. It's the last issue of the main event. Issue 10 of Secret Empire, where Kubrick sent some of the heroes back in time to their mentors to learn a lesson moving forward towards the future. And right now we're smack dab, like I said, in the middle of it. We've had, I believe, 6 books so far. I think there's 8. I'm not too sure, and I apologize for that. I should have done my research before doing this cast. But anyway, we're halfway, if not most of the way through Generations. And when Generations is over, we'll be doing, I believe Legacy is starting very soon anyway. So, Legacy is October. So we'll be doing Generations for this month, and then we get into October, and Legacy officially begins. And a lot of the characters are being taken back to their roots. Like I said, Spider-Man, even though not really, he gave up Parker Industries. He's going back to work for the Daily Bugle. Captain America is grounded and really trying to get the people to trust him again, really get a sense of being Captain America again. X-Men have been doing what they've been doing, and they're going to continue to do what they're doing. Falcon, Sam Wilson's getting his book. You've got Iron Fist getting a numbering. You've got Amadeus Cho going to Planet Hulk. You got a bunch of stuff happening. Kate Bishop teaming up with Clint, both Hawkeyes in the same book. And a lot of it looks promising. You got Thor 400, okay? Thor 400. That sounds really cool, right? I'm looking forward to that. So all this is going on, but I'm not here to talk about the books. You guys know about the books. You've probably already pre-ordered them, especially if you're like me and you order from DCBS. Your October orders are 2 months already done. So let's talk a little bit about the stuff surrounding Legacy instead. First off, those lenticular covers. Now, we all know DC made a little boo-boo. The first time they did lenticular covers, it was Villains Month during Forever Evil. And they didn't make enough covers. They didn't. It was their fault. They didn't think people would want them. And there was a shortage. And people went nuts for them. Believe me, Joker's Daughter was super expensive for a very long time. Now you can get them anywhere at cover price, if not cheaper. But back then, when it was happening, forget it. And ever since then, whenever DC did an event, they did it for September the year after for Future's End. And then I think they did it for Flash and Batman's crossover, and now they're doing it for the Oz Effect with Superman. So they're throwing little, lithographs every now and again. But anyway, beside the point, Marvel saw this, and now they want to do it for Legacy because they're like, hey, we'll do lenticular covers too. We'll do old covers, lenticular, into new covers, old character covers that change into newer character covers. So you got like Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows, the first Amazing Spider-Man or Amazing Fantasy 14, and it changes to Pete's daughter and Pete flying behind and she's carrying Mary Jane. Ha ha ha, really funny. All right, but people want that, and I think that's cool. I liked it, and I said, okay, Marvel's doing lenticular covers. I want to check out all the Legacy books. If I'm going to buy them, let's do it lenticular. And the problem started where comic shops were set a quota. You had to buy X amount more in order to be qualified to get lenticular covers. Now, I order from one of two places, DCBS or Midtown. And I'm sure they are going to have no problem, both of those stores, getting lenticular covers. And after talking to a few of my friends, their shops are not going to really have too many issues picking up lenticular covers. However, there are still some smaller shops that are having issues. This is where the problem begins. You don't take something that you know people are going to want and make shops buy more of your books in order to say, look at our sales for the month of October and November. They were amazing. We beat DC. We beat everybody. Yes, you did, because you basically took the wrist of the comic shops and kind of twisted it so that the readers could buy the lenticular covers. Now, some shops aren't doing it. Some shops are caving, and other people are just buying the lenticular covers online, which is fine too. And I recommend that. I mean, especially if shops cannot afford to buy the quota that Marvel wants. Now, they've claimed that that's changed. I don't know if that's true, but if it has, wonderful. If not, then anyone who needs them and wants them and your shop's not getting them, just check out Midtown Comics. DCBS is over, so check out Midtown Comics. Be there on Wednesday mornings to order for the week, the week after, the next week, and you should have no problem picking up at least one of each of your comic lenticular covers that you want. If you want the whole collection, good luck. I'm hoping Marvel doesn't do a special lenticular cover, quote unquote, air quotes, for certain companies, because if they do that, I'm going to be really pissed off, because I was upset. I bought all of the X-Men trading card variants and then found out that there were 2 or 3 others that were not part of the main 32, but were shop exclusives, and one of them being Magic, and I really would have liked that cover, but there was no way I was going to go crazy getting those covers. Just no way. But there was a lot of controversy with those lenticular covers, and it started. Now, again, people are already kind of at wit's end with Marvel. Marvel's been hit, is already under fire with people angry about the forced diversity. Other people, number one, upset about the SJW, Social Justice Warrior. They call him Marvel, the Social Justice Warrior Marvel, SJW Marvel. Some people are basically using it as clickbait too. You know who you are. I'm not going to point you out. This is on Comic Frontline, and my views are not representative of the entirety of Comic Frontline, so I'm not going to sit here and point you guys out and shake a finger at you, but you know who you are. Tisk tisk, and you suck. So yeah, people are even using it as clickbait, like I said, and people are loving it, and people are feeding off of it, and I'm not here to defend the social justice warriors either. And I'm not saying Marvel didn't do that. And I'm not saying Marvel doesn't still do that or force diversity. But here's the thing. But. That's the best way to go. But here's the thing. For everybody who doesn't like it, there's somebody who does like it. Now, the mass majority might not like it, but there are still certain people that like it. I am very... I don't like Gay Iceman. It was forced. It was thrown out of left field. Bendis is writing. And... people like it. There are some people that like it. Some people that are like, hey, I don't care. And there are some people that really do are like, yes, I want this. This is great. I've never liked Iceman until now. And that's great too. But it came out of left field and it made absolutely no sense. Whereas if you talk about Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, perfect. Introduction, start of the series, great. Now you talk about Ironheart. Why is she an Iron Man? Why is she the replacement for Iron Man? You could have just made Ironheart the book. Again, note the writer, Brian Michael Bendis. And I don't want to put anything on Brian Michael Bendis. I'm just saying, when you talk about all the diversity going on in Marvel and the comics, just notice the names that are around it. And I've noticed his name has been around several of them. But anyway... looking away from Bendis, and I've also really liked a lot of Brian Michael Bendis' work. I loved The Ultimate Universe. I don't know why Marvel canceled it and brought Brian Michael Bendis into the main universe. They should have kept him on the Ultimate line and run the Ultimate line as head editor in the Ultimate line and left it like that. I think it would be perfect. Still, you could still fix it. It can still be fixed. You've got X-Men Blue who can go there. You've got Miles who can go back. You've got several young characters that can go there. And you could even resurrect other characters that have, quote-unquote, died from the Ultimate Universe and bring them into it. Of course, I don't know if Marvel's ever going to do that, but I'm just saying that is a possibility, Marvel. You don't have to say, no, we said it's done forever. And you could put Brian Michael Bendis right back there. Hooray. And then the 616 could be what it's always been. Just saying. But... yeah, Marvel has a lot of flack already, and there are people, like I said, benefiting off of that because their videos and their clickbait is doing amazing. We're not here to that. We report the facts here on Comic Frontline, and I try to stick to the facts. That's why this is not a Marvel bashing video. This is what I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping Legacy is good because Marvel has not been giving that much good, and I've been trying, and every time I'm like, every time I've defended Marvel, I feel like Marvel's giving me reason not to defend them. At the same time, every time I'm saying, oh, don't worry about this will be great. And it goes right back to, well, no, it's not. I was really hopeful for Secret Empire. Get to the end of Secret Empire, I'm like, you had your chance right there. That was it. This is your last event for 18 months or so you say. And this is it. Making it hard, Marvel. You're making it hard for me to defend you. But you know what? I ain't saying good or bad until I get my Legacy books in my hand and I read each and every one of the first and second issues, just like I said for Rebirth, just like I said for New 52, just like I said for any event. I will read the first 2 issues of every series, of course, series that I'm interested in. I'm really not a fan of certain characters, regardless of them being started over or renumbered or whatever in Legacy. There are some characters I just don't care about, period. Example, Doctor Strange or whatever. Yet those characters I'll probably not read. I'm just saying there are certain new books I'll try or try again, like Thor and Cap, but there are certain books I won't because I'm just not invested in the characters. If I don't care, it's not going to help the book or help me reading the book to say if I like it or not if I don't care about the character already. That's another thing. Don't read a book because you feel like you're forced to. If you don't like the character, if you don't like the premise of the character, or what he stands for, or what he does, etc., or she does, etc., don't read it. Don't read it. I mean, try it. You never know. You could be surprised. But at the same time, I'm going to try everything. But I can promise you guys there are certain characters I don't care about, and I'm sure I'm going to get halfway through the story and close the book and be like, I tried. But then again, I've been surprised before. I've gone through whole issues and gone, wait, wow, I'm done? I like this book after all. Daredevil being one. So you never know. Maybe Legacy will get me into another character or two. Who knows? We'll find out when Legacy hits. And that's what I'm saying. I'm hopeful that Legacy... Already, I'm getting the feeling it's not going to be like a DC Rebirth. It doesn't look like a lot of people are going to just jump right into it and be like, oh my God, everything is so much better. Because already you could see in the solicits that Marvel kind of is just continuing along its merry path. It's just they're fixing certain things along that merry path that make characters more legacy or more towards their legacy again. And I do that with air quotes too, because while things will change, things are still the same. It's not like the Cosmic Cube, like we said, fixed everything or kind of undid a few other things other than just in Secret Empire. As a matter of fact, Rick Jones is still dead. I'm sorry for everybody who's a Rick Jones fan. He's still gone. So, yeah, the potential for the ending for Secret Empire was definitely not reached. And that worries me for Legacy, again, because Secret Empire is supposed to be the big lead into it, and it kind of fell flat. Doesn't mean Legacy is going to be bad. Hoping Legacy will be good. Again, I feel the potential is definitely there for Legacy. It's just if Marvel reaches for that potential, and I'm praying to God they do. Now, one thing I wanted to discuss as I bring it up was there was something dropped on Reddit, dropped on a few places from this person called The Whisperer. And it has everyone talking. And this is going to take up a bulk of the middle and end of this show, because I'm probably going to cover this, give a couple of final thoughts, and end it. And it's a podcast episode. But what we're going to do is, there are quotes. It's 3 and 2.5 pages long. I'm going to try to pound this out as much as I can. I'm going to read what was stated by The Whisperer, and then I'll say if it's true, my feelings, and then, of course, if it's not, my feelings, and then if I feel it's true or not to begin with. So if you understand what I mean, reading, if it's true, my opinion, if it's not true, my opinion, and then my opinion on if it is in fact true or not, in my opinion. Could it be true? Possibly. Everything that I read right now could be true, but now that Marvel knows it's been out there, they can change it and say they never had it that way. But we're gonna attack this because this is something that I'm sure a lot of you are seeing, looking at, and it's making you wonder, do I want Marvel Legacy? So let's start with at the very beginning. All right. From The Whisperer, number 1. Editorial is miserable. Understaffed, underexperienced, and overworked. Kind of like a lot of jobs. The direction at the top corporate level is a mess of politics and infighting. Anybody who's seen a lot of the writers' Twitters know that they are very, very vocal about politics, especially after the election. Anyway, top brass want to make a hard left back to what worked with Steve, Thor, Tony Banner, other recognizable faces. Editorial knows how bad it's going to look to push all their diversity celebrations to the side. Reality in those books didn't sell. A lot of it had to do with Marvel's chinny practices. We'll go with that. Finally reaching a breaking point with fans. But the internal editorial spine is that comic shop fans aren't ready to embrace change. Honestly, this sounds, in my opinion, it could be true. I mean, understaffed, underexperienced, overworked. Editorial is miserable. Now, I know a lot of people have said a lot of stuff about Joe Quesada, myself included. Top brass wanting to go back to the original way, but at the same time afraid because of all the fans they have from their diversity. Why does this sound like something I've heard before? New 52. Oh, that's right. Still don't know if Alan Scott's gay in the New 50, if that changed when we went into Rebirth. Gotta wonder about that. Anyway, this is probably true. It sounds true, but I mean, I feel like a lot of the quotes you're going to hear from this guy, the Whisperer, are things that fans are vocally thinking Marvel is doing, and a lot of fans think. So he's basically saying what fans think and trying to make it sound like fact. Whether it is fact or not, I don't know. But, I mean, it's obvious Marvel wanted to go back. I mean, they've been doing Legacy. It sounds like they really want to go back to the core. But notice they said Steve, Thor, Tony, Banner, and other recognizable faces. Now, why wasn't Spider-Man put right in front there? Because we all know how Joe Quesada feels about Spider-Man. So no matter what, editorial does not want to go back, make a hard left back with Spider-Man, no matter how bad the sales are. But apparently, it's not bad because, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man is one of the top-selling comics in America. I mean, let's face it. Whether I buy it or not, or people buy it or not, a lot of other people buy it. It's a very popular comic, so I don't think they have to worry about readers not reading anymore. Even Tevye reads it. Through pirating means, but he still reads it. So technically, even though he hates it, he's reading it. So why does Joe Quesada have to worry about making a hard left with Spider-Man when people are reading it? Any shape or form, they're reading it. So that's why they'll never change Amazing. But sounds right. If it's true, I really hope that they get their head out of politics and everything else and focus on just the freaking characters, man. You don't have to. We are reading comics to escape politics and the world around us. There are fantasy escapes for both children and adults. We don't need reality to seep its way into the book. And yes, I'm looking at you, Jeff Lemire, with your Savage Dragon issue. Really had to do that, didn't you, buddy? I'm not politically anything. For anybody who's wondering, I'm not far left. I'm not far right. I don't give a crap about politics. I believe everything is foremade and people are just figureheads, and I could give two shits about what happens in the government. I am just a simple person who wants to work, do things for a living, have a family, live life to the fullest, and then the cycle repeats with my children, great-grandchildren, etc., etc. I don't have time to sit here and worry about politics. And, yeah. And no, I didn't vote. So nobody asked that either. I'm not political. I like comics. I like, collectibles. And I like talking with people. And I like delivering hope to the world as much as humanly possible from my way of doing it. The end. Next piece from The Whisperer. The terrible reaction to Hydra Cap / Secret Empire forced a change in plans. Originally, it was going to end with a Dark Reign scenario where Hydra is vanquished thanks to Kubik's shenanigans, and the World Security Council from the movie steps in to assume power over superheroes, and everything has Civil War era overtones with registrations, boot camp, the idea of an inhuman ban. The vanishing point would be a way to bring back Steve, Tony, Thor, Banner, sort of like Hickman's Time Runs Out jump skip, but in reverse. It would rewind the characters to before the Hydra subversion starts. The classic heroes realize that they have lost touch with the people and need to learn how to fight for them again. In the meantime, new generation characters like Miles, Kamala, Riri, and other champions would form the resistance against the WSC state. Generations was also planned to be the transition from classic guys taking a step back and letting the new generation lead the charge. So basically, it was supposed to end like we thought, with Hydra taking over the world, it lasting, obviously the heroes beating Hydra, but then the world hitting a second version of Dark Reign, where the heroes were the bad guys in the world, powers were against them. That sounds pretty cool, honestly. I mean, we were expecting that for a bit. And the fact of old characters, the legacy characters taking a step back and letting the newer characters take over, that's been happening. Let's be honest here. I mean, not counting Miles. I mean, Riri's already in the Iron Man book because Tony Stark is in a coma. Kamala is Miss Marvel because Captain Marvel is, Carol is up in space. Miles, I mean, yeah, he's in New York. It makes sense that he could take over for, Pete for a time if they're on the run and they're fighting against the Registration Act again. But again, that also begs to a repeat of what we've seen already. We don't want to get what we've seen already. We want something new. Why bring the Registration Act back? Why civil? This is, of course, my reaction to if it's true. Again, this statement sounds like a lot of the hypotheses we've had pre-release of Secret Empire. I think even Jay has talked about a possibility like this. Do I think this is true? This statement, I believe, could be true. It sounds like half of what Marvel was going to do. But yes, the world did react very polarized towards Hydra Cap. They were very against it. Like, people were mad. They basically had to say, read the end of issue number 2 and spoil a part of issue 10 to kind of appease the uproar in angry fans. Okay? Okay. So yes, I believe that part, that they didn't expect such a reaction for Hydra Cap. I think they expected the fans to kind of be like, oh, this is an interesting angle, which some fans were, but other fans weren't. And a lot of the overcry, it overshadowed it. So, I believe that. I believe it could be half true. I do like the idea. I mean, we talked about an idea like this where, a year from, Secret Empire, the legacy characters would come out. We get all the original Avengers back, and then the younger generation that takes charge would go back to their parts in the world, and maybe even some of them have their own line. But obviously, that's not what happened. That's not what's going to be happening. So, next statement from the Whisperer: Legacy is a rush job. No shit, Sherlock. I'm sorry for being blunt, but they can't afford to take the classic characters off the table like that for so long, but they also don't want to piss off the new diverse audience they've been trying to court, which is what I've said before. They have a huge audience now for the diversity. They brought in people, which DC brought in a lot of diverse readers, but all right, let's finish this first. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and please all masters or all readers. It's a scattershot way to buy time while they write the course on several books. It's not going to stretch. It's not going to be about new number ones, but milestones. 500, 600, 700, 600, 800. He skipped 700 issues. A lot of these big volume numbers are really stretching the definition, but the constant relaunches have started to seriously damage the trade department's ability to plan out long-term marketing. And what he also could have left out there was number ones were pissing off readers. And that is true. How many number ones, how many times on Frontline Live, how many times in general have we complained that a series is ending just to restart again? So this sounds like more of he's playing off of what he's heard everyone else say. I think everyone and their grandmother has said Legacy's a rush job. And everybody has also said, that Marvel can't take the classic characters off because people were already pissed about, Banner being dead, Cap being Hydra, Iron Man in a coma. So, they can't take the classic characters off anymore because people were getting pissed. But at the same time, they were courting a diverse audience because their push on diversity and, all the other stuff that, of course, led into SJW Marvel, they don't want to lose that audience either. Now, with DC New 52, the readers left. Fans kind of got sick of it. I'd like to think halfway through, if not a little bit more. And DC realized, holy crap, people are not really into this anymore. Marvel is not waking up and realizing that the small group of people that they're courting, they should be courting lifelong fans first, and then everybody else. Again, it's all about how they're doing their books. It's all about how they're doing them. You can have diversity, you can have newer characters, introducing them as new characters, not making them taking legacy characters off the board and having them replaced by people from a different race, a different alien, a different this, a different sex. No, you can easily have a lot of the legacy characters like Carmella. Again, Carmella fit perfectly as Miss Marvel. Why? Because Carol became Captain Marvel. And Marvel is dead. So that's just the way it is. I mean, again, it worked good also for Thor. But now people want Thor back. Will Thor come back? I don't know. But I do like what we're getting with Jane Foster Thor also. I am reading Mighty Thor. I'm behind on it and now need to catch up really quick by 400. But yeah, it's fun. But at some point, from the moment I started reading that, I was like, at some point, Odin's son's going to get that hammer back. It's common knowledge. And Falcon has been Cap before, and then was Patriot, and then was, now obviously was Cap again, and now going back to Falcon for another time. So it's one of those things where people come in and out. And I feel like this is more what people have been saying more than truth. I feel like this could be something that was just literally thrown out from what the Whisperer heard other people say. The next one is what got the title for the Whisperer, on a lot of websites. This is what a lot of people were talking about. They're bringing back the Ultimate line for the teen heroes. Miles will become Ultimate Spider-Man again. Riri becomes Ultimate Iron Man. X-Men Blue become Ultimate X-Men. Champions become the Ultimates. The only adult character that will be a regular presence is Captain Marvel, because they want her to be seen to be seen as a prominent character. I'm guessing he meant to the overreaching power structure of the WSC/SHIELD, which it'll be SHIELD now, and other elements that will factor into her movie heavily. They'll still make guest appearances in the main books, but don't expect them to anchor any more franchises. Bendis staying on Miles and Riri. Hopeless is still on Ultimate X-Men. New Ultimates writer is Amy Reeder. So basically, no Ultimate Universe, but an Ultimate line. So the Ultimates will be part of the Marvel 616. Makes sense. There's already an Ultimates book. The Ultimates are going to issue 100 with the legacy numbering, from what I understand, 100 or something. So this wouldn't surprise me, per se. That X-Men Blue would become Ultimate X-Men. Champions would become the Ultimates, and then the Ultimate book would end. Obviously, if they're staying in the 616, Captain Marvel, leading them, it makes sense. So the newer generation, instead of it being the Ultimate Universe, it would be the young generation considered the Ultimates. That's if this is true. This could be true. It could be. A lot of people were saying, this is why I say it could be, or it could just be spouted out as a really big guess. Obviously, they're not going to bring back the Ultimate Universe. A lot of people would like that. I'm surprised that the Whisperer didn't say that. I say he. I don't know if it's a he or she. I'm surprised the Whisperer didn't say that the possibility of an Ultimate Universe, but I guess they do want to focus on one universe, so it makes sense. Changing the names of teams and stuff, adapting Ultimate into 616, I could see it. Will it be good? I don't know, but I could see it. So that's my opinion on that. I could see it. I don't know if it's true or not, and it's definitely nothing we're going to see for a while. That's for sure. The next thing from the Whisperer, and it's a Mark Waid Captain America thing. Mark Waid is a stopgap on Cap to bridge the Legacy launch, then takes over Iron Man with 600. Doom will be the main villain. Coates is taking over Cap with 700. They want him on the book to endorse the Image rehabilitation. Okay? There's a lot of face palming internally about the Cap is a Nazi talk. He's on both that and Black Panther as long as schedule allows. So basically, he's saying Mark Waid is only on Captain America until Cap hits 700. Because I believe Cap is going to be in the mid 600s when he comes back, or really high 600s. And then basically he's going to leave. Coates is going to take over Cap, and then Waid is going to go over to Iron Man with 600. So basically, they're going to do a switch up. Bendis will be off Iron Man at 600, and it'll be Wade, probably because Stark's back, and Coates will be on Cap 700, and he'll continue on fixing the book. That's if this is true. Do I believe this is true or not? I don't. I mean, if they're advertising Wade on Cap and everybody's really excited about it, I don't see them taking Mark Wade off the book at 700. I don't see that happening. I mean, Iron Man 600, maybe Bendis will leave Iron Man at 600, but I don't think it would be a really bad move if it's true to take Wade off so quick and just have him there to kind of bring people into the book and then kind of be like, oh, Wade was only here for a little bit, and then move him out, put a new writer in. And I mean, for me, I'm there for Wade and Samney. If I only get like 2 or 3 story arcs and then they're replaced and moved on to Iron Man, I probably would follow them to Iron Man and drop Cap again. Because it's not established. They were on Daredevil for 2 whole volumes. 2 long volumes. Well, the first volume was really long. Second volume was medium-sized long. But they were on Daredevil for a while. If they're only on Cap for an arc or 2 or 3, 4 tops, yeah, no, I don't know if I probably would end up leaving with them to Iron Man. If Wade is going with Samney, by the way, also. I don't see this being true. I don't know why, but something tells me they wouldn't take Wade off so fast, especially because the fans of Mark Wade and Chris Samney from Daredevil and Black Widow are going to be really interested in Cap because of this. I just think it'd be a bad move. My opinion. Could I be wrong? All of this could be true. All of this could be false. We don't know. Small quote now from the Whisperer. They got lucky with Greg Pak and Hulk. It leads into Planet Hulk revival pretty seamlessly. Okay. So they got lucky with Greg Pak and Hulk. Woo. That sounds more like an opinion than a statement, but alright. Now there's 2 Thor quotes. I'm going to say them back to back. Jane Foster dying was always the end game with the storyline, but the positive response with female fans means they're trying to find a way to make her stick around. Tentatively planning to make her a new Valkyrie, as the movie version is a blank slate and no one cares about the 70s Defender character. That's the first quote. Second quote being classic Thor will be spacebound for a while, definitely through Ragnarok. Let's do the second statement first. It makes sense because every time Marvel has a movie, their comic kind of follows the movie a little bit, if it can. And having Thor in space through the Ragnarok movie makes sense. And obviously we know that Thor's probably going to get his hammer back. I mean, it's been hinted. It's been touched on. Jane said she's going to live out the rest of her life as a human. Makes sense. This one could be true. It actually sounds like they've been hinting it anyway. This could be just a really good educated guess. The first statement. This is stuff we all already know. We've talked about Jane Foster coming in as a spirit in the hammer. I mean, he could have literally just grabbed the name Valkyrie and said that. And I definitely disagree with the statement no one cares about the 70s Defender character, because Valkyrie had a book and a lot of people really liked that book. So that's why I think this statement is literally just grabbing at straws, taking statements from obvious signs that Marvel has and throwing in a name and saying, well, nobody cares about this character, so meh. So, personally, half true, half not. If it's fully true, whatever. I mean, there could be 2 Valkyries. There, like I've said, there's multiple Spider-Mans, there are multiple Wolverines, there could be multiple Valkyries, and it's not a problem. I mean, there's a lot of room in the Thor-verse for more than one Valkyrie. So, moving on. Oh god, these next few are gonna hurt. These next few are gonna hurt. I'm going to attack them one at a time because I know Tevi is going to flip out on each one of these. So, Slott is off Amazing Spider-Man, says the Whisperer. They're going to move him over to Friendly Neighborhood, which I'm guessing is going to be a new book. The fear is he would sign exclusive with DC if they took it away from him completely. Plus, he struggles with deadlines and there's less risk with him off to the side. They can't ignore declining sales anymore, and it's time for a refresh. I don't Okay, first of all, I think this is half true, half not. This is, again, something that they've heard. This guy's heard fans say they don't like Slott's Amazing Spider-Man. So, I mean, literally just saying, oh, they're moving him over because they're afraid he's going to sign with DC exclusive. Marvel, if that is true, thank you. Because I would be afraid of where they would put Slott in DC. But again, where would Dan Slott go with DC? Has Dan Slott ever expressed an interest with any characters in DC? If so, let me know in the comments below. I don't believe Dan Slott ever expressed any interest in anything DC related. And right now, DC has everything planned out for the next year. So if they did potentially want to sign Dan Slott, it would be for aftermath of Rebirth, aftermath of the World versus Dr. Manhattan. And who knows, it might work. I mean, he's done amazing work with Silver Surfer. Maybe it's just his Spider-Man stuff. I mean, honestly, I would be okay if I saw Dan Slott writing a DC book. If this was true. I don't think that DC wanted to sign him exclusively, and I don't think Marvel, I mean, maybe Marvel is afraid of losing some of their names, but if all this is true about the declining sales and they're giving him another Spider-Man book just to appease him and keep him, I mean, if they see the sales are declining and they're throwing him off to the side, wouldn't Marvel want to just let him go? Wouldn't Marvel want him gone if people don't read his books? Personally, I like Dan Slott. I've met him several times. Really nice guy, really wonderful person in reality. His Twitter is very political, I will say that. But again, really nice man, really nice person. As far as his Amazing Spider-Man run, I unfortunately have had my fill of it, and I am dropping it. But again, declining sales for Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, I think everybody's talked about that. So again, this sounds like he just grabbed bits and pieces of what fans and readers are saying and facts from the internet and just threw in his own little hypotheses about throwing him over to Friendly Neighborhood because they're afraid he's going to go to DC. But let's continue on. So Nick Spencer was earmarked. Very good word. For Amazing Spider-Man for a while, and he's earned, in quotes, earned it. After taking the heat for Secret Empire. So basically, okay, let's finish this first. I've got to do the full statement first. Plus, there are fans of his Superior Foes book in editorial, and the plan is to emphasize tech-based criminals, go smaller scale, focus on New York. Yes, like the movie. No, they're not going to de-age him to a teenager. In parentheses, although it is a corporate synergy idea that has been floated, editorial has been able to argue that there's no great way to do it, yet they're hoping Tom Holland ages up and they give up on that idea. So let me finish. The time-displaced X-Men are an albatross brought on by first-class synergy. All right, so now I could talk about it. So basically, they're saying, because he's saying, or she's saying, the Whisperer is saying, Nick Spencer took the heat, so he earned the right to write for Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe it's, the more I think about it. And yes, like the movie, see, bringing Spider-Man back to New York, they can't de-age him, but they're hoping Tom Holland will get older. Well, obviously, Tom Holland is going to keep growing. Obviously, he is a growing boy, and it takes about 2 or 3 years to do a movie. So I'm thinking between now and maybe the next 3 Spider-Man movies down, yeah, he will look the part, and they won't have to worry about de-aging Spider-Man. Of course. There's another point to this. I should have read that too. But and then explaining about the X-Men, about being time displaced. Yeah, that we all knew that. Then again, this is all stuff that we've talked about. Nick Spencer is somebody that people have mentioned would be great on Amazing Spider-Man if Dan Slott stepped down or if Dan Slott left the book. Everybody's talked about Nick Spencer's Superior Foes before. Again, this is all stuff that's been floating around the internet anyway. Could it be true? Obviously, the editorials are hearing this, so yeah, it very much could be true. Focusing on New York, everybody's wanted that again. Tech-based criminals go smaller scale, which is just New York. Yes, everybody's wanted that. So now this is the part where Tevye is going to start screaming. The Whisperer says, "No major plans for Mary Jane beyond guest spots here and there. The marriage isn't coming back ever. Renew your vows. Will stick around until it's a money loss. It's just a spin-off that had some legs, like Spider-Gwen, Silver Sable / Black Cat plans are being developed. Big plans for the Venom series to have a central role in Marvel events. Now, this plays off right what I was talking about before. This is what people were talking about and common knowledge. We know Joe Quesada said he's never bringing the marriage back. And we all know once Renew Your Vows, which I believe Marvel is trying to kind of, in its own little way, it's trying to sabotage by aging everybody up. But we all know as soon as the money for Renew Your Vows goes, so goes the book. Because then they'll be like, well, Amazing is selling, Renew Your Vows isn't. And that's why we didn't bring Mary Jane and Pete back together. They'll use that as an excuse. We've talked about this before. And I feel like this is just somebody, he's throwing out common knowledge. Now, big plans for Venom series to have central role in Marvel events. Marvel's not supposed to have an event for 18 months. So if this is true, number one, Marvel lied. Number two, I'm scared for where this Venom-centric Marvel event will be because we already had Planet of the Symbiotes. And I really don't see... I'm not really digging a lot of what's going on in Venom right now. So I don't know. I don't think that's true. I'm hoping that that's not true because then that would mean Marvel lied about the events. But then again, a lot of us already knew that was probably going to happen. So this whisper is really putting Marvel into the gutter right now and throwing it down the garbage chute because he's literally throwing out about Mary Jane, about Spider-Man and everything. If I was a fan right now, if these were all true, I'd be pretty pissed, but I don't think, I'm thinking a lot of it is just thrown out from what people have been saying. Mary Jane and the marriage, until Joe Quesada steps down and a lot of editorial steps down, I don't think that's going to happen unless we go to Disney themselves and tell Disney Spider-Man and somehow Disney tells Joe Quesada either marry them or step down, and he'll probably still step down, but beside the point, I believe this is just stuff that people have said already. Next, now let's get into some other books. The X-Men. The Whisperer says the X-Men are still in a tight spot. Resurrection was itself a rush job after the Inhuman movie push was officially kaput. And there was no future for the family of books. Because of the Fox issue, they still can't create new ideas that could go towards the movies. So it's literally just nostalgia rethreads. Uncanny will be back next year with Xavier. Old Man Logan is sticking around for the foreseeable future with X-23 becoming his sidekick. The book will be called Wolverine. They burned out Deadpool fans with the price gouging, so no plans for spin-off series, but there will always be miniseries on the side to line out trades. That's common knowledge with Deadpool. I'm just going to throw that out there now. That's common knowledge with Deadpool. Old Man Logan and X-23 teaming up, or X-23 being Old Man Logan's sidekick, that would be, if it is true, a major step backward. A major step backwards for the character, for Laura. Laura has already established herself as a very good Wolverine on her own. If this is true, I believe this would hurt Laura's character. She's proven she could be Wolverine. She does not need to be Old Man Logan's sidekick, as stated here. Xavier being back with Uncanny, I kind of believe it because we're seeing Xavier or a being claiming to be Xavier in Astonishing. So there is a possibility that is true, or that is just worked off of the last page of Astonishing X-Men number 1. So could all be, again, planned, all hypotheses. Old Man Logan sticking around for the foreseeable future. We knew this. We knew this was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen somehow for a while. We weren't going to get our Logan back for a time. I just don't believe Laura will be a sidekick. I think that would be a major step back. Laura's book, All New Wolverine, sells. I would think Marvel would be making a big, huge mistake if she was Old Man Logan's sidekick. Basically ending Old Man Logan and All New Wolverine just to bring out the book called Wolverine would not be good. A lot of people would not like. I would be upset because I think Laura really earned her spot and her book. That's one book I'll defend. In one book, I'll say, yes, she's earned her spot as Wolverine. Old Man Logan could be Old Man Logan and do his own book like he's been doing, and that would be fine. Continue those books along, if it's true. I don't think it's true. I think that Marvel's not that dumb, but Marvel has done moves dumb like this, so it could happen, but I truly, especially after reading this and Marvel knowing that this is public knowledge, I truly hope Marvel reconsiders heavily. And Resurrection itself was a rush job. Yeah, no duh. Especially after you kind of burned out the Inhuman side. Yeah, you brought in all those Inhuman books, Marvel. You tried to push a movie. That failed. Then you had a TV series that nobody really is looking forward to. Yeah, I believe it. That I believe. But that, again, is common knowledge. So, yeah, again, it's a mixture of common knowledge and hypothesis. Let me take a drink of the old soda. Okay. The Whisperer says, seriously, don't expect the classic Fantastic Four anytime soon. Ike has seemingly dug his heels in, and even though Fox will probably never figure out what to do with them, he's spiting the brand because of how bad the negotiations went with Fox. Sue and Reed and the kids are seen as boring, in quotes, enough to sacrifice. 2-in-1 is basically a containment book for people to get their F4 fix. It's an inventory book, no set writer. It's like Avenging Spider-Man or A+X. Different writers will get to use different pet characters. So basically, we knew this already. I'm sorry, but I feel like the 2-in-1 is going to be like an Avenging Spider-Man or A+X. It's going to be side stories with every character in the Marvel Universe. That's common knowledge. The Fantastic Four, we know that Marvel is biting its nose off to spite its face with Fox. We know they're doing that. This is also something we've known and talked about. Now, Sue and Reed and the kids are seen as boring. Go tell that to my good friend Rob. He would severely disagree, as he has, the entire run of Fantastic Four and loves the Fantastic Four. I have friends who love the Fantastic Four and do not find them a bit boring. What was boring was FF, but we won't talk about that because that did not last long for obvious reasons. So no, I do not find the Fantastic Four or Sue and Reed and the kids boring and enough to sacrifice. If that's true, then man, oh man, I think Disney really needs to think about their Marvel staff and start putting the pink slips on some people's desks. Just saying. Okay? But we knew this about Fantastic Four. It's not anything new. I just think the statement of them being boring was a little to Fantastic Four fans. Great Legend would 100% disagree, and if you're listening, Legend, let them know in the comments below. Next, Miss Marvel is in a funky spot because of most at Marvel are aware that something organically special happened with her book. We talked about that. She basically is the new Runaways, a special project with a special writer connection. It will last as long as Wilson wants to write her, with a focus on the bookstore market while she pops in and out of other books when relevant. They want the audience to have enough familiarity with her because it's inevitable she'll be adapted sooner than later. It's way too soon for her to be introduced into any Carol Danvers sequels, so the TV division might snag her for their Hulu freeform teen show pitches. Moon Girl is saved by her trade sales, but the threshold is much lower if sales drop any lower. Common knowledge? All of this statement is common knowledge. Miss Marvel was a surprise, and we all love her, and I like her character. I like the writer. I don't review the book because I'm very far behind, but I think Kamala was a breath of fresh air for an introduction of a new character She kind of was like Sam Nova when Sam was introduced. I liked him until the very last volume of Nova, but she, along with Sam and a few other characters, were new characters that we all fell in love with and backed. And Miss Marvel has been a really great book. I don't see sales dropping or lowering for this book because it was such a hit and a lot of people love it and still read it and it's super popular. I could see it being on TV. Not a Carol Danvers sequel. I could see that because I could see it as a TV series more than something in the movie. So yeah, I agree with that. And again, common knowledge. So, and as far as Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I mean, duh. I'm surprised the book hasn't been canceled yet. That probably is true about the trade sales really holding the books afloat, but still, yeah. Wilson is all. The Whisperer says Wilson is also taking over Captain Marvel. They need to make it work, and she'll do the best job tying the legacy together. Kamala, Monica, Rabu, Sword, it's all part of it. I have no clue if this is true. If it is, it sounds interesting, because honestly, everybody hates Captain Marvel because of Civil War 2, but if it isn't, I feel like they need to focus on Captain Marvel for a time anyway before they think about any type of big crossover. Next, the Whisperer says these are more smaller ones. Runaways is just a miniseries. They just want to trade out, or they just want the trade out in time for the Hulu show. They can't seem to get readers to care if it's not BKV, but they know people still love the franchise. So you're basically saying what Marvel's done with a lot of their books that have TV shows or movies that don't have current ongoings, that they're going to do it with Runaways? Couldn't fathom them ever doing that. They've done this several times. Just an FYI, they've done this several times. It wouldn't surprise me, especially if the sales are not good for Runaways, if they come out one day and say, oh, we never said it was an ongoing. We said it was coming out. It's really a mini. They've done that. They just haven't stated what the last issue will be yet. I believe if Runaways sells good, it'll stick around. If it doesn't, oh, it's just a mini series. You know, we're just going to go about 12 issues and then end the series. Because by then, Hulu will be, you know, the series will be out and it'll be over. Again, reviewers, anyone who's been around Marvel for, dare I say, 5 years knows this as common knowledge already. Next, the Whisperer says Cloak and Dagger and New Warrior series are coming. Squirrel Girl is wrapping up and North is moving her storyline over to NW, New Warriors, where she'll be main character. Well, duh, because Squirrel Girl is supposed to be in the New Warriors movie, right? So it makes sense that they're doing this because of the movie. Cloak and Dagger having a series, we've heard about this, and they're going to have a TV show, or they have a TV show, so it makes sense that they'll have a mini ongoing series. Squirrel Girl wrapping up. Well, not too many people are really reading Squirrel Girl, so that makes sense too. Probably true. Probably. Next, Elektra, Bullseye, Kingpin, tanking so hard, shook them. They need the Marvel Knights Netflix corner to be sustainable, so they're relying on Bendis on Defenders and Jessica Jones for a while. Say what you want about his other stuff, everyone there thinks it's still his sweet spot. Okay. I've been really enjoying Defenders. I agree. A lot of people are enjoying Jessica Jones. I'm a little bit behind. And yes, Bendis does write them, so right there, point right there. I do enjoy Brian Michael Bendis' Defenders. Does a really good job on Defenders. So there. Kind of believe it. Could be half fake. I don't know. I mean, half true, half hypotheses. Next small quote. Brian Buccellato is on Daredevil with issue 600. Okay. I don't read Daredevil anymore, so it really doesn't impact me one way or another, but okay. Could be true. Could be not. We don't know. Justin Jordan is, the Whisperer says, is on Moon Knight. Big hope that he can give Marvel their mature, critically acclaimed book that juices up that corner of Marvel. Could be true. Could be true. No clue. Don't read Moon Knight either. It's harder for me to give an opinion on books I don't read. But Justin Jordan, I think I've read his work before, so it might help. It could help. Moon Knight. I don't know if it's true or not. Secret Warriors and Royals are already wrapping up. Rosenberg is moving over to the one main Inhuman book. Quake/Shield will be background characters until Agents wraps up. Everyone knows this is the last season. The thing in parentheses basically says it all. He spouted out all common knowledge. Secret Warriors, I knew were going to wrap up after Secret Empire. Royals did not do well. So, again, all common knowledge. All common knowledge. But Whisperer also says they're going to give Ahmed a shot with Black Bolt until sales drop. Okay. I don't read Black Bolt, so if it is true, good luck. If it isn't, well, not too many people are reading Black Bolt, I believe, anyway. Next, no plans to take Dugan off Guardians. Gunn is moving full steam ahead with Adam Warlock weirdness, and they want to make sure those characters / ideas are accessible, but still fun. Okay. So basically, Guardians aren't going to change, and they're going towards Adam Warlock. Makes sense. He was in the movie. Possibility. I give that maybe prediction, half truth, could be true altogether. This one made me laugh. Punisher War Machine is just one storyline involving Stark Tech. They want to pull the character back from some of the real-life darkness and imagery. Nate Edmondson, rep plus Secret Empire, has made him ugly. Plus, no one cares about Cloonan's run. Talk to my brother. I don't know if he'd agree with you on that. They want to scale him back to the Spider-Man Defenders side of the street level, with less focus on real guns and more emphasis on comic booky tech. The reason I laughed is because we all said that Punisher was going to be in the War Machine outfit for one arc, and then they were going to let it go. I will say what is true is Secret Empire definitely made Punisher ugly because he followed Cap. But what I will say about Secret Empire Omega is you are seeing him wanting to redeem himself after making that terrible choice. So, again, this statement was before Omega came out. So I gotta say, this could be true. And we all know he's only going to be around for one story arc. Again, common knowledge. We've said this before. I mean, it's nothing new when it comes to Punisher. All right, not much more left. I might start grouping some things together. As a matter of fact, I think we have a lot of things grouped together. Al Ewing is on Spirit of Vengeance. Editorial likes him, but he can't sell a book to save his life. This is all from the Whisperer, not me. They just want someone with a love of Marvel lore to write the magic horror characters to have them prepped for future movie phase exploration with a Blade reboot. We know this to be fact, that they're trying to do a Blade reboot. They know that corner of the Marvel horror needs its own annihilation. Its own annihilation, you say, Mr. Whisperer. I believe this. I believe because they've talked about wanting to do a Blade reboot. I totally believe it. As far as Al Ewing, I have no opinion, and I do not agree with he can't sell a book, because I believe he sold books before. I'm not sure, but to my knowledge, I don't think I've even read anything from Al Ewing. I mean, I might have, but again, I'm not the right person to ask because I'm not reading Spirit of Vengeance either. Again, I say so. Probably I believe that there's a Blade reboot. I truly and honestly do believe that. Okay, apparently we're going back to Spider-Man. So the Whisperer really does like to focus on Spider-Man. It's just like, the Whisperer says, a Spencer plot device. It could have been Weird World. Oh boy, that was a failed plan. It's just Spencer's take on a place out of time a la Morrison. This is replying to whether Marvel will have a Black Mary Jane or what Vanishing Point was. Continuing on, because this is all part of the same thing, there are no plans for a Spidey reboot like that. They can't get readers to pick up a teen Peter Parker since Bendis killed off Ultimate Peter Parker. They wrote themselves into a corner because no one cares about kids' books like Marvel Adventures or that Spidey book from last year. Disagree with that statement. Michael loved it, and so did Mike Spiderslayer from my knowledge. There has been some decision about the Untold Tales of Spider-Man relaunch with Teen Peter and a high school cast, but they don't want Busiek, and there's no market for prequel books. The statement actually does continue, believe it or not. This is pretty long. There's a thought, and the Whisperer agrees, that once the animated Miles movie comes out, they'll have their Spider-Man for kids. So we want to keep him strong in the comics and cartoon merchandise. The Sony deal is kind of closed off, but in terms of brand direction, we're all about synergy. The Gwen revival talk is dead now that Emma Stone movies are done. We're just kind of waiting to see Sony's next step, but there's kind of like a prep for nostalgia for the Rami tradition in terms of Mary Jane and college. So, there's still more. I'm sorry. We're in the dark, he says, about a lot of the post-Infinity War plans now, but the overarching brand direction we were looking at was scaling it to revolve around Spider-Man, even though Marvel can't make a solo Spider-Man film. So he's talking about the films now. I think Tom Holland is going to be the new linchpin for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're not going to have a new Iron Man franchise, but they've got Holland locked into a deal where he'll team up with characters in their own stuff. The original plan was, all right, I'm gonna stop there because now they're talking about Marvel movies. So Mary Jane, they're saying that they can't do a kid book for Spider-Man, so they've got Miles, and they're hoping for that. As far as the Spider-Man movies, they're hoping to go back to nostalgia and do like Steve Raimi Spider-Man in terms of Mary Jane in college. So I guess that kind of answers the Black Mary Jane question, which I don't know why that was thrown in there. Again, probably just to make people read it. So they want to do more of a Raimi-esque Spider-Man, which is good. Because in my opinion, those are the best. I did not like Amazing Spider-Man. Did like this Spider-Man, though. I did like this Spider-Man. But Sam Raimi had a really good Spider-Man run going. Spider-Man 3 went way off the rails, but I believe they would have, if they continued with Spider-Man 4 and did it the way he wanted, I believe they would have gotten back on track with Spider-Man 4. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. One More Day happened, I believe, at the exact same time as right after Spider-Man 3. So they were heading towards the Mary Jane's Peter Parker marriage, which obviously they aren't going to do in the movies now. So I feel like this could be true, and I do hope it is true in a way. The Gwen revival talk is dead. I don't know what he's talking about here, but as far as Spider-Gwen, she is really popular right now in the Marvel Universe. So revival, I don't know what he means, unless he meant in the cinematic universe, which I believe he is talking about since Emma Stone is gone. So he's talking about Emma Stone, so maybe bringing Gwen back, he means. Which is fine. I would like to see Mary Jane. MJ, I would like Tom Holland movies from Sony to go back to the Sam Raimi kind of idea. And Tom Holland's really young, so I feel like they really can focus a little bit more on high school, then take him into the adult years. Would love to see the original JJJ back, but my opinion could be true. I hope some of it is true. I don't believe about the kids and Spider-Man and Miles being, keeping Miles strong for the kids. But again, kids, he is technically the teen Spider-Man right now. So yeah, and Bendis did kind of write himself into a corner when he killed the Ultimate Spider-Man. That was the problem. But again, this is where the diversity cough gets thrown at our faces. So, but I like Miles, so I don't like his book right now, but I like Miles the character. So moving on, so we can finish, because holy crap, there's so much more. Actually, I was wrong. I'm going to start throwing some of this stuff together, guys. I apologize. The original plan was, because this podcast will go on forever. The original plan was to mirror Civil War, to Secret Invasion, to Dark Reign. I believe that, and that's all I'm going to say on that point. There's a reason this is called Secret Empire. The next step was nomading the entire Marvel lineup. There was a lot of editorial excitement about saying something about Trump's win and baby boomer backlash. I semi-believe that because excitement, I'm guessing the opposite of happy for Trump's win, and baby boomer backlash. I don't even know where this statement have coming from, but I know a lot of the writers were not happy about Trump, but that's just, I figured somebody would end up throwing something in there. No one was expecting the backlash to cap Hydra, and they probably could have kept the original plans intact, but I think it was the sales and marketing push that buried it. So that means all the plans that he claims were going to happen are gone. Could very well be. Not everyone is an idiot here. We are aware of how we price gouge comic shops. I think that, this is about the lenticular covers. I think that was more the issue, and once all the online fan political arguments started happening around the book, retailers just finally threw their hands because it wasn't worth the outrage. I'm guessing that was about the lenticular covers. And yeah, I believe Marvel knows that I believe Marvel's not stupid. I know Marvel knows what they're doing. I mean, they can't all be completely dumb. What Ultimate Comics are, the Whisperer says, just an imprint line, not a separate universe. I already said that. Jason Aaron is off doing his own thing. His Avengers BC thing is just a Morrison miniseries. We know that. Spencer made his statement about, we know this. I'm not going to get into that. He's spouting facts now. I think everyone agrees it's time to take teens away from Wade. Again, his opinion. But the senior editors have big plans for that push, and now there's nowhere else to put it. But we can get rid of it. We can't just get rid of it forever. There was no plan to replace all the white men, in quotes. It's just how the pieces fell into place. Honestly, the reread thing was the tipping point. It was Bendis' idea. No one in editorial had a big plan for it, and it hurt the big post-Secret Wars push to make Tony Stark the franchise of the Marvel Universe. That I believe. Since it's basically, but we all knew this already, since it's basically a book for his daughter, we're kind of stuck keeping her in print. So in other words, because Riri is for Bendis' daughter, they're kind of up against the wall keeping it. Edit wants to have a fresh voice on Miles' book in time for the Sony cartoon. David Walker apparently had a pitch that got people excited, but there's just no way to take Miles and Riri away from Bendis without burning a bridge with him forever. Because both of those characters are for his kids. Miles is for the boy and Riri is for the girl. They never should have let him take over with Riri. Then they wouldn't have to worry about him losing Miles. So if it is true, they kind of put themselves in that corner. If it isn't true, which I think it's half true, half not, yeah, you guys put yourself in a corner. Now live with it or burn bridges. On Spider-Man, I'm not kidding. The slot Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man run is going to market like Josh Whedon on Astonishing. It's its own thing, in quotes, unrestricted by the monthly continuity, but still taking place in the Marvel Universe, which is code for, in quotes, if it's late, it's late. It's gonna be sold as a separate but equal to Amazing Spider-Man. I have no idea how long it will last, but it's to massage his ego, apparently, as he was not interested in other books. So Dan Slott didn't want to leave Spider-Man, so they're giving him a book that's not something that is set in stone like Amazing, so they don't have to worry about him being late, yada, 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 etc., etc. Could be true. If it is, I probably still won't buy Friendly or Amazing until I see some fixes, but beside the point, Dan Slott doesn't have that big of an ego, I would think, with Spider-Man, but maybe, I don't know. I like the man. He's a nice guy. If it is true about him, though, then that's bad on Marvel's part, period, to waste their time with another book. But I don't think anybody wants anyone else to jump to DC. The real fear is Disney seeing that Warner had success moving the comic office to Burbank, California, and lining everything up under one roof. Moving Marvel Comics out of New York and onto the Disney lots is a real possibility. A lot of us will get downsized or just not relocate if that happens. This is possible because if Marvel's losing money and they need, they can't afford the office space, I see Disney saying, listen, you work for us, move into our offices. I'm sure Disney has a huge lot that is empty, just waiting to say to Marvel, move in. So that's that sounds legit. It's true. That does sound like, Disney. It sounds like Disney should do that, as a matter of fact. But I feel bad for the people that can't relocate, especially after moving from New York to California already. What it was like when the Legacy variant covers were announced, the Whisperer says. Not surprised. Just our typical variant trick that's been meant with diminishing returns while contracts get lined up for new last-minute books to replace post-Secret Empire plans. Shitty day for me because I had to handle a lot of the online damage control until like 8:30. Poor dude, or poor woman, poor person, poor Whisperer. This is how Marvel corporate works under Ike. So he's putting Ike under the bus. We don't give the Fox and Sony movies anything, but we will milk the cash in on comics. Oh wait, we don't give the Fox. He must have meant we don't get the Fox and Sony movies, get anything from it, but they want the money from the comics, so they're doing it for the comics. I believe it. We've been saying this though, so this is common knowledge also. Again, he's spouting stuff that readers and reviewers, and if you watch everybody on the internet, he's saying stuff that other people have said. After X-Men 3, we're in the movies again, the plan was to do a teen-focused reboot. So we were going to cash in on that. Not literally, the movie cast, but remove the baggage and make them streamlined and accessible to young demographics. Claremont is like the Spider-Man wedding of X-Men. It's this unwieldy thing that none of the senior editors like, that they want to rewind, but because of the movie deal, we can't make new IP. X-Men has been a micromanaged mess since I started here. AVX was a sales team gimmick to replicate Civil War, which messed up Schism. Remender plans got hijacked by the time displaced 05. I'm guessing 05, which was pretty seamless. Bendis's pitch, which was pretty seamless. Bendis' pitch to corporate. There's no central architect guiding the franchise, just a big plan that gets derailed by next sales gimmick. So basically, X-Men just are going from gimmick to gimmick, and that's what's hurting them. And talk about the X-Men movies, which I'm far, far behind on. Other than Logan, I haven't seen an X-Men movie since X-Men Last Stand. Oh no, I'm sorry. I saw Days of Future Past. So my bad. I did see Days of Future Past. We've talked about this before. Oh, and there's more. Then the Fox talk started going really south, and it wasn't just don't give them new ideas, but actively scaling it back. Yes, Ike and corporate really thought they could replace X-Men with Inhumans. They don't actually care what it is, just as long as they own it. So basically, what he's saying is, because to spite Fox, because the negotiations for X-Men went south, Ike, again throwing him and corporate under the bus, said they were going to replace X-Men with Inhumans. We knew this. We knew this 2 to 3 years ago when Inhumans got this gigantic push, and basically they killed off a lot of... Oh, he talks about IVX down below. Let's get there first then. The 05 was seen as a way to scale it back, and might as well House of M, the last visage of Grant Morrison's run and just make Scott and Emma straight up supervillains, but it's been a mess because no two writers are working together on the bigger picture, and Gillen and Aaron and Remender all had different plans. IVX was a mercy killing to a character that had been written into a corner, Cyclops. Carnage. Oh, now we're going into something else. So yeah, basically they wrote themselves into a corner with Cyclops. They tried to spite Fox by replacing the X-Men with Inhumans, basically they wanted to send the mutants into space. Instead, it came back at them and people got pissed off, and the Inhumans are the ones that went into space. This is stuff we've all known about already, and now they're basically trying to catch up with themselves because the people want a good X-Men book, and if this is true about Ike and Corporate, they're just trying to spite Fox by not doing good X-Men, then man, I truly think Disney needs to get in there and start taking a real deep eye at Corporate. But again, I don't believe DC would want to spite themselves with Fantastic Four and X-Men. I feel like they might not want to give new ideas, and Marvel should know this, Fantastic Four and X-Men have been around for many, many years. There are a lot of really good ideas you can take when it comes from X-Men stories in the past and Fantastic Four stories in the past. So technically at this point, stop spiting yourselves, dudes, and dudettes, and just give the comics back. Just bring your books back. I mean, you guys are trying to fix X-Men, and you're doing it hardcore, and I like it. I like the work that's being done on X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue. But if you were doing that all along just to spite Fox, dudes, come on. How old are you? 4? 5? I mean, that's my job. I'm the kid. You're supposed to be doing the comics and being adults. Stop trying to spite Fox. You sold it. It was a mistake. At some point, they will screw up. And you'll get your movies back. Till then, give us some good X-Men books. You already see... I feel like that was karma with Inhumans honestly failing. I feel like that was karma saying, see, you tried to get rid of a franchise that a lot of people liked, and now Inhumans isn't popular, so now what you going to do, guys? And that's why... now they've got to do damage control with X-Men. 2 more quotes here. Carnage, big villain in the Venom plans. We knew this already. This is not new news. Thank you for telling us common knowledge. Power Pack, early development for a freeform show. Comic would follow, obviously. Well, the comic kind of is in development right now, and we did all predict that Power Pack was the freeform show that Marvel was talking about, so it makes sense. This is stuff we know already. And then this is my favorite part, the very end, and where all this was coming from the Whisperer. I'm writing this on my personal laptop out of the office. No one at Marvel checks this place, and if they did, they'd just see a website as a bunch of Trump trolls. That I actually, and even they said, that may be the most believable rumor of all. And I believe that. And that's what the Whisperer said. And I am an hour and a half almost in this now because of all this stuff that we discussed. So I'm not going to hold you guys much longer, but that was damaging stuff. If true, oh boy. If not, I think it's half true, half not. To be honest, I think that there is a boundary between this guy or girl. Maybe works at Marvel, maybe doesn't. Maybe he's or she is spouting out stuff that they hear on the internet and trying to make it sound like it's fact. Again, it appeared on a website and then was quoted on another website that is basically the Inquirer or the Weekly Inquirer when it comes to comics. So you got to take this with a grain of salt. And I don't think half of this is true. I really don't. And if it is, if this person gets found out, I feel bad for their future because there's going to be a bunch of legal action taken on when it comes to this. But I don't think it's really true. And if it was, it isn't going to be anymore because Marvel's going to backstep on this and make it look like it was false news. So Marvel will just end up backtracking again. So I'm hopeful for Marvel Legacy, though. I want you guys to be hopeful as well. Don't listen to everybody who's down talking Marvel. But then, I kind of don't want you guys to also, don't listen to the people that are really pushing Marvel Legacy either. Don't be far for it, and don't be far against it. Test the waters. Look at books. I mean, comic shops are places where you go in and you could actually look inside of a comic. Check out the books. See if you like something. See if something catches your eye. I'm not saying that, it's going to be a mess. And I'm not saying it's going to be the best thing in the world. Again, I don't want you guys to listen to people who are completely trashing on Marvel, but I don't want you guys to listen to the people that are pandering to Marvel and loving everything out of Marvel. Marvel can't do any wrong in their eyes. Oh my God, Secret Empire was amazing. Generation was amazing. What is wrong with you people? Amazing. Marvel's number one. No. I want you guys to make educated decisions on your books. I want you guys to make, decisions based on your likes, not on other people's likes or dislikes. If you like something that we don't like on Frontline or anybody doesn't like online, that is okay. You can like what you like, and that's what makes you special. But again, don't go by what people are saying. There is a lot of hate out there for Marvel. Don't go by that. Don't listen to a lot of people who are really literally making money off of the ads for people watching those videos. It's clickbait. They are making money off of trash talking a company where they probably don't even read the books, or they read it and they have a stupid way of talking about it. Make your own decision, and then don't go on the other side of the pond and go on these people who read the books and then see nothing but rose petals and wine coming out of the books. They're wrong too. They just want Marvel to be number one. There is an in-between. There is bad, there is good. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say this, Marvel has a lot of heat on them right now. There's more bad than good. It's sad to say that. But you know what? DC had more bad and good. It's a cycle. It is a wave. It goes out and it comes back, and it goes out and it comes back. Unfortunately, a lot of people are making a lot of good hits and money off of ragging on it as the wave is going out. Hopefully, as the wave comes in, it'll take some of those people with it out to the ocean, to the deep end, where we'll never hear from them again. But beside the point, even the people that are really liking it, there is hope for Marvel Legacy. I believe it. I believe it to be true that that Marvel has the potential to do it. Will they do it? I don't know. I truly hope so. I have a lot of books on pre-order for Marvel Legacy because I want to believe that it's going to do great. And I want you guys to have high hope, or hope for it too. Now, granted, some things that we all want, Tevye, will not be happening. We know this. It's been stated. But at the same time, there might be things that we really enjoy. So, guys, just when Marvel Legacy hits, keep an open mind. Don't close off to it, and don't, run in blindly and buy everything either. Go check out the books. Go to your comic shop. Give a flip through the book, see if it looks interesting. If you like it, buy it. If it looks like you'll like it, buy it. If it looks like something you won't like, don't buy it. Just don't be sour or overexcited for it until you get your hands on it and you truly get to read it. And that's again why I tell you guys, come to Comic Frontline. We will be covering Marvel Legacy, and we will give you guys our opinion on the books. Now, again, our opinions are not what you guys should go by, but at the same time, we will give you guys our thoughts on it, and then you could form an opinion on whether you want to give that book a try or not, whether we love it or hate it. You might say, hey, you hate that, but that sounds cool. I'm going to go check it out. Or we might like something and say, gee, I really don't like that. Maybe I'm going to wait on that book for a bit and maybe get it in trade. Or maybe you'll see a good review and want to go check the book out. Or you'll see a bad review and say, thank God I didn't pick that book up. Who knows? That's why we're here. We're here to give you guys informed reviews, our informed opinion on books. And that's really, again, you're the reader, You know what you like. You know what you don't like. If you hate Marvel, this is not going to change you on Marvel if you already hate it. If you are indifferent like myself and read everything, go out and try it. You never know what you'll find. I'm looking forward to seeing what surprises me with Marvel Legacy. Rebirth surprised me. I hope that Legacy is a kind of Marvel Rebirth. But again, I had hopes for certain things and they didn't work out. I'm hoping that this for Marvel, this hope is kind of my last straw when it comes to a lot of things. So I'm hoping that Legacy delivers. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll do a follow-up. I'll do a follow-up. It's a podcast, when we're in January of 2018. And we'll see if Marvel Legacy lived up to the hype. But until then, that is it for this podcast, guys. I'm letting you guys out of here. I don't even know if half of you stuck around through the whole thing. You might have skipped over the whole Whisperer thing. Again, I tell you guys, you are the readers. You have the power to choose whether you like something or don't like something. Don't let anyone tell you you're wrong. Don't let anybody sway you to like or dislike something until you yourself check it out. No matter who that person is. And until next time, guys, as always, this is Comic Frontline. You are listening to this podcast on Comic Frontline. We are your number one source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Hopefully, if you are new to the channel, you'll click that sub button. This way, we're in your sub box, and you do not miss out on a single video. We have videos coming out each and every day. When Legacy drops, we will be there. Also, Comic Frontline has a Discord. Link is in the description of this video. And link is also on the main channel and on comicfrontline.com. Also, I'd like to mention that It's a Podcast is a proud part of the Zone 4 podcast network. Go check out zone4.com. Tons of other podcasts on Zone 4. You've got the main show Zone 4, which myself, Brant, Jay, and Gordon are a part of. We do it once a month. You got Airship 27. You got stuff coming in the future. You never know what's next when it comes to Zone 4. So check out Zone 4. Also, proud part of Comic Frontline. And until next time, everybody, I'm your Dark Avenger, Chris, and you are now leaving It's a Podcast. Take care, everybody.
I got too much pressure, running out of time. I got too much pressure, feel like I lose my mind. Not too much pressure, not too much pressure. No, too much pressure.